Have you ever wondered how you can win as a real estate agent when your competition is charging a fraction of the price? Today, I'm going to show you how to win even when you're charging full commission and your competition isn't, because it's not always about the price. And I'm going to use a case study to prove it to you. Take a look. Hey everyone, Kevin Small with 2Q Lead Generation Strategies. We help real estate agents market their business so that they have more transactions, more success, and less time spent marketing. So down in the description below, you will find a link to our top performing Facebook ad templates. These are templates we've used to generate over 100,000 leads on social media. So go check those out. It is time well spent. Now, the topic of today's video is how to compete as a full service real estate professional charging full commission when your competition isn't. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. This is a snip of an email that I got from an agent named Keith, and I wanted to answer his question because I think it's one that a lot of people have. And his question, I didn't show the whole thing just because it's got some names on there that I don't want to show, but it says his biggest challenge is consistently marketing $3,000 to list homes. And if you read the rest of the email, really the essence of what he's getting into is how do you compete with discount brokerages where it appears they're taking lots and lots and lots of listings, but they're not, he's charging more than what they are, and just feels like he can't get ahead. So that is the question that I wanted to take on, and I wanted to use really an example and a case study of a local company. So where I live in Utah, and there was a discount brokerage several years ago that gained a lot of popularity that was named Homey. Now, I know they did business in some other states. I want to say Arizona and Nevada as well. There may have been others, but those are just the ones that I'm aware of. And so I wanted to kind of talk about this. There was a period of time where I would go teach a CE class, and everyone was saying, how do I compete with Homey? How do I compete with Homey? They really had done a really good job sharing their message with the public. And a lot of the ways that they did that, like this, were through billboards. So you can see these are some, and it usually just wasn't one billboard. It was a series of them like this that had a continuing message. So like on this one, sell with Homey and leave with a wallet thicker than the inversion. So like really thick. So a lot of times in Salt Lake, there's periods of the year where there's some pretty thick inversion. The air gets pretty polluted, and those billboards happen to be running at a time when the inversion was really thick. It was really good marketing. Here's kind of another example of some of their billboards. I like big bucks and I cannot lie. Savings you can't deny. Parody of the rap song Sir Mix-a-Lot. I like big butts. If you don't know it, then maybe that dates you a little bit. Maybe it dates me. But anyway, one of the things that people miss on this whole discussion when we talk about discount brokers and this whole thing is that you've got to realize that price only matters in the absence of value, right? When there's no real value being communicated, then the only thing left to really have any kind of competition about is price. And the problem with having a business, a real estate brokerage where it's all about price is that it's a race to the bottom. And the only way that is even semi-profitable is if you're in a market where there's just a lot of transactions. When the market slows down and there isn't volume that is happening, then it's a business model that is destined to fail. And quite honestly, that's what happened with Homey. Here's an article from the local newspaper. Homey, the Utah company meant to disrupt real estate, sheds its last agents. They just laid off tons of people. You can see this April of 2024, and they're still operating. They're not completely shut down, but the company is just a fraction of what it once was. It's not the dominating force that it once was in the marketplace. And so you've got to understand, and I think this is really the major reason I wanted to create this video, is because people think that the rise of Homey had to do with they just had cheap prices. And this is what I want to wake you up to, is that's not what made them popular. I can show you mom and pop brokerages that are discount brokerages in every state across the US, every single one of them, but they're not getting big, and it has nothing to do with price. The lesson that you want to take from this is the reason why Homey got to be as big as they were, it was their marketing. See, I hope you've heard me say this so many times that marketing is what makes top agents, right? It has nothing to do with the brokerage or the prices that they charge. It has everything to do with the marketing that they do and getting that message out in front of people. Top producers are top marketers, period. That's it. So instead of complaining about price, what you really want to start zeroing in on is focusing that a large part of why they had that success was because of the marketing that they did. Again, if I go back and you look at these billboards, they're clever, right? This is great marketing. No matter whether you agree with their business model or not, it's great marketing. And what ended up happening was there were brokerages here. In fact, maybe I can find one. There were brokerages that were trying to compete with this. Ah, yes, there's one where they had rebuttal billboards that they were um, battling with. Let me see if I can go back to that. Yeah, hire a professional, not your homie, right? And kind of what happened was these signs actually had the opposite effect to where it was actually not really combating homie, so to speak. It was more actually promoting them, and that's kind of what happens with any kind of a rebuttal like this is that it actually ends up promoting the original company more so. And so that's lesson number one is it was the marketing that got them to the point where they were. Now, second, let's talk about value. The way that you win against companies that are going to just undercut your prices is by being better at communicating your value and being full service. Again, price only matters in the absence of value. So the way that we make price irrelevant is making the value so crazy that people are willing to pay whatever it costs to have that, right? And there's always going to be a place in the market for people that want full service, full options, the VIP treatment. And the more you do that, the better it's going to be. A lot of times, if you can walk people through, you know, what happens during a home inspection and how much value you can bring to the table by helping with the negotiations if they find something wrong with the inspection. That's a massive way of communicating value that can save them thousands and thousands of dollars. It easily justifies the rates that you're charging for commission. So again, you've got to realize that it's not in today's real estate market, it's not about who's the cheapest. There's a guy named Dan Kennedy where he's a marketing guy. And one of the things that he talks about a lot is he talks about how there's no strategic value in being the second cheapest. Right? If you're the second cheapest in the marketplace, there's no strategic value in that. The only places where you have strategic marketing value is either by being the cheapest or at the other end being the most expensive. There's really no strategic value of being anywhere in between. So when you think about that model, let's forget real estate for a second, right? When you think about cheapest, one company that has thrived with that model is Walmart, right? Because of their size and their buying power, they're able to acquire goods at a lower cost than most other retailers, and so they can sell it at a lower cost. And price is the major reason why people do business with Walmart. They just have cheap prices, right? But there's plenty of companies who don't do that, right? Target has carved out a pretty nice niche in the industry by not being Walmart, by not being the cheapest. Um, and there's plenty of other companies that have done that as well. But there's a lot of people out there, especially where real estate is concerned, where they want that full service, full offering VIP type treatment for the most important transaction of their lives. And so this is the way that you end up competing. Number one, great marketing. And if you're not doing any kind of marketing and getting that message out there, then that's really on you. A lot of homies' success had, yeah, the pricing had their price that they were charging. Sure, it had some to do with it, but it was also popular just because of how hot the real estate market was at the time. As that market started transitioning and there wasn't as many transactions, that's a large part of what led to their downfall was they just didn't have the volume to be able to sustain that model, which if you're charging the cheapest, the only way to win is through volume. And so when the volume is not there, it just doesn't make sense. So this is why if they're only charging, $1, 2, $3,000 for a listing, and here in our area, typical sales price is right around 500,000. So if you're charging 3%, that's 15,000, commission just for your side of it, not counting the other side of the transaction. Obviously, that's a massive jump. But when you're helping them get more for the sales price, you're providing more value. When you're doing all of the services that give them that VIP treatment, then it's not always about the price. It's about the outcome and the result. And that's what you're really marketing. So those are just some thoughts that I wanted to share today about this whole concept of how to beat discount brokerages. But again, the lesson that you want to take from the Homey example is it's not price as to why they were super successful, right? Price was just part of their marketing message. It was their marketing message and their visibility that made them successful. So if you want to take more full price listings, then the answer is you really want to ramp up your marketing and be specific about the value that you're communicating to the clients and the outcomes and the results that you can help them achieve. That's where you're going to win in today's market. So hopefully that video was helpful. If so, take a split second, click that thumbs up button down below. We appreciate that. It's just a trigger for YouTube that says, hey, we like the content that, that Kevin's putting out there, and it just helps us get more visibility. We appreciate your help with that. Also, make sure you download that resource that I talked about, those Facebook ad templates. You'll see that down below. And if you'd like to get your marketing more visible and see greater success, then book a strategy call. During that strategy call, we're going to show you how our business systems can add over $100,000 to your income, and go do that. That is a free option, and it's a great one, actually, just to show you how much money you're leaving on the table by not having proper systems put in place for your real estate business. But that's it. Make it a great week. Keep crushing it in your business. As always, if we can help, let us know. Leave a comment down below, and we're happy to help you and support you. I'll respond to all of those comments. So take it easy. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.